You are retired in Panama. Now imagine vegetation, the sun, the beaches, yummy foods, people around you who are kind, who smile at you, a sense of well-being wherever you go, whatever you're doing, and even at home, feeling that sense of belonging and restfulness and peacefulness. You are rich. You can retire and be rich in Panama. So I'm going to tell you today the things that I think I did and that you can do to ensure that you feel rich in Panama. If it's your first time seeing me, my name is Maggie. I am a retired nurse practitioner, and I have been happily retired in the beautiful country of Panama since 2023. I am also the creator of SWAT, Single Women Retiring Abroad, a group of sassy older ladies who have made a conscious decision to retire here in Panama in this gorgeous country, create sisterhood, build community while we reinvent ourselves. But the ultimate goal of SWAT, Single Women Retiring Abroad, is to develop a newer model of aging abroad that is sustainable and affordable. So if any of this sounds of interest to you, I invite you to like the video, share it with as many friends and family, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit that little bell so that you are notified when I go live, which is on Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, let's get into it. Now, you know I wasn't talking about money, hopefully. Being rich, what does that mean to you? Is that dependent on the size of your bank account, your investment portfolio? That could be a part of it. But can you still be rich without all that? I think you can. Being rich is a state of being, a state where you have come to appreciate what is important to you and what makes you feel rich, whether it's relationships, whether it's career or activities you're involved in, whether it's giving back to the community or just enjoying the everyday simple things in life. I believe that is my definition of being rich. So today I want to tell you the things that I have discovered could keep you from experiencing that level of richness, and the things that I, as a retiree, someone who have retired abroad, someone who has retired early, and the things that I think make my life so rich. Now, if you know me, you're listening to me, you're here in Panama, you're probably saying, well, if it wasn't for SWA, I would never have known this person. And you would be right. Because my being rich, my feeling, my sense of worth, my sense of appreciating the little thing is so high that I'm not basing it on where the places that I go, the venues that I frequent, the people that I hang around with, because you do have little groups. I don't want to call them cliques, but you have little groups, walk around a bit oddie. But I don't even entertain any of that. But what I'm saying is living a simple life like I do can feel rich, can make you feel rich. And I do every day. I'm not a rich lady. I'm not a millionaire. I was close. But I've made some business decisions that kind of have brought me down a bit, but I'm still rich. because my identity was not tied to that. And that's important. So let's get going. What are some things that, as you consider retiring anywhere, but let's say Panama, could hinder you getting to that level where you feel rich? I think one thing could be health-wise, right? If you are someone who has multiple health issues, and of course you're concerned whether you can continue getting your treatments and your care in a different country, if you consult with me, I'm going to say, ooh, sis, let's think about this, right? Because it's like, put the brakes on and be realistic with your vision of what you want. Because if you move to a country where you're not able to access care, maybe not to the level that you used to, but care that is necessary for you, for your well-being, you're not going to be rich, sis. So that could be a challenge. Another one could be heavy debt. I don't know about you, but I am so uncomfortable with debt, even before I retired. I felt like it was a shackle around my neck. I do not like to owe people money. But the system that we were living in, you couldn't avoid it. If you wanted a home, you had to get in debt for 30 plus years. If you wanted to buy a car, the debt was almost as high as getting a car. So you were just kind of tight, you just working, pay bills, working, pay bills. I'm sorry, that is not designed to make you feel rich. You feel trapped and you're a slave to the system. I was just listening to Adelia about Sade earlier, her last video. She's talking about the mindset that we need to change to be successfully rich abroad. She didn't say rich, but I'm putting my word in there because this is my word today, rich. And she talked about some of the thought processes. And we know all of us, not all of us, but most of us who have moved out of the system, looking back, you were like, oh my God, they really had me under their thumb. I really got caught up in the lie. Yes, and for decades, and to the detriment of our health and our relationships and happiness. All right, so talk about debt. Fear. Oof. This is where my psych comes out. Some people are afraid of almost everything, and it's a liability, sis. It is something that if you acknowledge that it is a problem, you really should take steps to address it and see why and to move forward. Because if you are a fearful person, I'm sorry, but you're not going to be able to enjoy the unknown. You're not going to be curious about the world and say, I want to explore this. Oh, I think I can move over here. Oh, I think I can do this and that because you're just trapped in the idea. You think that what you know is your safety net, but it is not. There is a lot more out there for you to explore. I am a very curious person, even if I don't travel. I want to learn. I want to hear. If I hear something, I'm like, oh, let me look it up. It's a mindset, sis. So if you are a fearful person, that can hold you back. And even if you made yourself move abroad, but then you're going to again get caught up in that cage that you're like, oh, I can travel here. Oh, I can do that. That's a no bueno, sis. That's my word. All right. Are you enjoying this so far? I'm going to make you laugh. And I know I'm tripping some people, going to be triggered with my poofs. But if you see, I am embracing my gray and I don't even, color my hair anymore. And this is it. This is being rich, reducing the stress, my self-expectation of myself, of what I should look like, the way I should speak, or whatever in my age. Listen, embracing the me, the new me, all imperfect, with gravity working. That's being rich, sis. So please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And like Stephanie says, I'll wait. Subscribe. I'll wait. Got to see what I have to do today, which is always a lot. And it's fun. It's fun. That's part of my being rich, staying engaged, not having too much time on my hand for me to say, well, what should I do today? I don't have days like that. I do not have days like that. I'm usually, now I have a calendar. I have to check my calendar. I don't make appointments because my life is full and rich. I am rich, yes. All right. What are some other things that could be a hindrance to you being rich abroad? Having familial responsibilities, whether it's children, grandchildren, or aging parents. Yes, those can be hindrances to keep you trapped and keep you from exploring and moving abroad and being rich with yourself, with your situation. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, politics. Well, yes. You know, we don't talk politics on my channel, but that could be a hindrance. The mindset, the worry, the sense of you feel scandalized and you triggered by what's going on, right? So I understand that could be a situation where you cannot feel rich where you are. And a lot of us have tried to step away so we can get to a place where we feel rich and at peace with ourselves. All right. Another one could be language. You might say, oh, well, I have only spoken English and or Spanish or whatever the language is. And the thought of having to go somewhere where I don't understand the language, that's going to be a problem. And you create that reality in your mind. Well, you've already lost the battle, sis. Once you tell yourself that there's no way I'm going to be able to learn this or do this, you've already lost. You're not going to be rich. You're not going to be rich. Let's see another one, cultural adjustment. This one is a big one. People may not understand how important it is for you to be at a place, to be a person who can appreciate diversity. Oh, we're not going to do political again. But to be able to realize that the world, and that halftime show we just witnessed was all about that. To say that the world is not monolithic. We are not one. We are a bunch of differences. And if you're bothered by seeing people who are different from you, you can't even fathom living in a place where the majority of the people are not like you. You're not going to be rich, sis. You're going to be trapped in that smallness of your mind. And you cannot look at somebody else to say, oh, wow, she's gorgeous, even though her skin tone is different from yours. And she speaks a different language. She moves differently. She eats differently. I can't tell you how to do that. But if that's where you're at, you're not going to be rich in retirement. All right. So let's just keep that to the side. Those are the negatives. I wanted to get those out of the way. Now let's talk about the positive, the things that I did, I believe, that have made my experience here in Panama so positive. And I think I'm going to address a point in a minute that I'm kind of predisposed to it, but I still had to put in the work. Understand that. Life is not just embracing and just say, oh, well, that's just the way it is. No, ma'am. No, sir. You got to put in the work. You got to get your mind straight. Shift your mind because your mind is under your control. You control what goes into it. You control how you think about things. You control how you treat people. Do not hide behind the system or some kind of ideology. No. You control this. So I think for me, I was kind of groomed as a child. I was taught by missionaries who were Europeans, and from childhood, I had a curiosity about the world. And as I told people before, I was born in the Caribbean in Haiti. And as I was growing up, I had the best childhood. I was a happy girl. My parents were divorced. That part wasn't that pleasant. My mom worked a lot, but God also played angel. You know my story. Some of you do. That God always has placed angels in my path to direct me. My angel in infancy, when I was a child, in childhood, was a neighbor. While my mom was out there making money, trying to be successful, she stood in the gap and taught me to be a girl, to be a woman, to cook and clean. So she has a lot to do with who I am today. Then going to Catholic school with the nuns, where the standards were so high, made me into the person that I am. Failure was never an option, excellence was the norm. So forgive me for who I am. And I'm just not asking for forgiveness. I'm just making you understand where I come from. So I attack every problem through those lenses of I do the best that I can and I accept nothing but the best. Okay. So when I was thinking about moving abroad, the curiosity about the world took over. It was like, okay, I embraced the challenge, the research, the form that I had, Ghana, Rwanda, Panama. Did I think of any other countries? I don't think so. But I went full blast with the research. And I'm also, one thing I believe worked for me is that ability to be logical and not be driven by emotions. I came to Panama, you heard the story, I connected with the country, but I still felt I needed to explore other places. So those of you who just, I'm always asking, what is your Panama story, right? But if you tell me, I saw the article International Living and I just zeroed in on Panama, I think, wow, that's amazing. My mind doesn't work that way. I need option A, B, C. And then the logical mindset comes into play. Is that working here? Is that working there? Is that working there? And then if you're able to say, nope, that's not going to work. That's the logical mind that told me that Ghana wasn't going to work for me because the healthcare, the infrastructure were an issue for me, not for everybody. Me, sis, okay? Because this is my story. So the curiosity is saying, oh, I want to learn all I can. And then the logical mindsets. I believe those were assets for me to prepare me to live this rich life that I'm living right now. So when you're trying to move abroad, I implore you, you like a country and then ask yourself why. What do I like about it? And then you have to say, where am I on the spectrum of life? Because when I was 30, certain things would have been important to me that are not so important right now, right? Because as a single older woman, safety is important, community is important, healthcare is important. And for me, I didn't want to be cold. That was important. So I would never consider France or Portugal. And I'm like, I lived in New York. I almost froze my little, why? I said no. So I moved to Florida and I kept going south. Tropical, warmth, sweating. I embrace it all. So make sure you have your must-have. And I tell people that other things may not be so important, but make sure you are clear in your mind what's important to you and don't negotiate. Those are must-haves for you. All right. Those are the two things for me. Exploration, the sense of exploration. As I said, I am curious. I want to learn everything. That's why I talk so much about Panama culture. I'm getting on that bus and going to experience a fair, a feria, because when I'm in there, I feel such energy. just watching the people. And I get emotional sometimes, especially in Panama. You know, we just had Carnival and I was standing there. There was, the DJ was doing a good job and they were singing. And, as a foreigner, I felt envious a little bit because everybody was just having a good time and they were all singing along and the familia were together and I felt a little envious, right? Because I would love to have that for me, but I know I don't have that, but I'm happy for them. And I appreciate it. I love on them. Even when I say I'm envious, it's not in a negative way. It's just saying, oh, look at them. They're so happy. They're so family oriented. I just embrace it all and appreciate it. All right. Another thing would be fear. We talked about fear being a hindrance, but for me, I tend to be fearless because I'm a type A and I'm a left brain. So I'm logical, but when I need to make the tough decision, that's why I was a business owner for 13 years and I ran a restaurant. You got to have tough, thick skin. Now, I balance that with being very loving. I was very understanding with my employees. If somebody needed to go, I had a young lady whom I loved, and she had small kids. So when she said, Miss Maggie, they call me, I'm like, go, go. And that bothered another employee. She's like, oh, you let her do this, you let her do that. And I'm like, what do you expect me to do? I was trying to be a good human to that young girl and give her a hand, which is what we're supposed to do, paying it forward. Because, like I said, I have had angels in my life who have grabbed me and giving me a hand. When I was in that restaurant in New York, in the dead of winter, wearing an oversized coat after I had a fallout with the people I was living with who were strangers to me, and I was just 18, probably had just turned 19 years old, wet behind the ear, had never left home, and I was crying my eyes out. And out of the blue, this girl comes to me. She tapped me on my shoulder and she said, why are you crying so much? And I don't know why. I explained my situation to her and she's like, oh, well, I know this old lady who's looking for somebody, a companion to be with her. That was an angel. So I can do no less. If somebody needs a hand, I'm going to do it because it's a requirement. It's expected of me to do that. All right. So I fly through after I've done the research. That logical brain is still there. I'm not going to go. That's why when I see people say they come here to Florida, I mean to Florida. Florida's in my mind. I don't know why. To Panama, sight unseen. They just go by what they've read. They've watched me. And then they brought the suitcases and the dog. And I'm like, ooh, I admire that, sis, because my logical brain would not allow me to do that. I'm doing the research and I'm going to come and check it out. I made 3 scouting trips to Panama. That's logical thinking to say, well, let me see if I can make it work. I travel around the country. I go to a different neighborhood. I stay here. I stay there. I did the work and then I plow through. Fearless. So whatever it is, every day, when I do the workout with the ladies and I'm like, let's be grateful and be prepared for whatever this crazy world is going to throw at us. And whatever it throws at us, we have to say, all right, how do we deal with this? We are planted. All right. The other one is acculturation. I am very curious about the world and I am so open to other cultures. In fact, I thrive on that. I relish learning about other cultures. When somebody is talking about their culture, I'm like lapping it up. That's why I love sitting at the feet of older people who've lived 10, 12 lives. And I'm like, how was it? Tell me. I'm curious. I want to know. I want to know why people in India, they do this. I love the different foods. You know that. I'm a cook. I love that. I go to Chinatown here and I'm trying. I said, I want to learn how to make dumpling. I want to make kimchi. I want to do this. Yes. So someone with an attitude of appreciation for other cultures will become rich in a new culture because you appreciate the culture. You don't feel haughty, like you're better than other people because you have clothes on your back and you live in an apartment where, that is kind of nice. So you would look down on somebody. No, I have so much empathy. So in fact, when I'm walking through certain neighborhoods here in Panama City and I see them hustling, because the hustle is real. And I saw the same type of hustling mentality in Ghana, in places where people don't have a lot of resources, they have to fight every day for survival. So who am I to judge them, to think I am better? Because remember, I always have this in mind that says, but by the grace of God, go I. It could be me. Skid Row, is it in LA where people are on drugs and it could be me. It could be me. So who do I think I am to judge or to have a sense of superiority? That's why I don't understand all the stuff going around. People looking at a whole group of people and determine that they're worthless, and I don't. And I try to explain because I can't explain it. You cannot explain that away. I know if you ask someone, why do you feel that way about brown people, about this group, that group, they cannot intelligently tell you because it doesn't make sense. All right. Talk about fear, acculturation, exploration, politics. Well, I had to get to a point where I do not allow politics to run my life because I realize I'm not responsible for what is going on. And I realized again that mankind is always tempted to subdue, to maim, to oppress. That's the human reality. So whatever the political party or groups of people in power, I mean, some are worse than others, don't get me wrong, but I don't take that on and have it weigh me down to the point where I can function in life and I can enjoy life. That's being rich. It's mindset, learning to let go of what you can control, embracing the new, and being the best human you can be. So I do not allow politics to run my life. But if I can get out where I can get a little bit of respite, that's what I do. And that's what I did. So I understand where you are, sis. I do. I so understand. All right. Debt. Woo. I told you before, I am scared of death. Let's see the time. Okay. I am really scared of being in debt. And of course, I was in debt. And I remember the day I became debt free. Oh my God. Ooh, what a joy. The sense of, and it just makes me mad at this point that I allowed myself to get in that much debt, feeling so pressured that, my credit is great because I've always been really diligent about not, allowing myself to be chained in bondage. So before I moved, I made sure I didn't have any debt. That's why I didn't want to get another car. And I got that subscription program. Make sure my credit cards were clear. Because coming to Panama, you've heard me, you need 2 or 3 clear credit cards for your health care. Well, that's another topic. Because that is also something to consider. But I did not have the debt to weigh me down. And being on this side, how can you be rich and be laden with debt? Those two don't work together, sis. So I know people who go to the store. I'm like, why do you buy so much stuff? Oh, credit card. I'm like, what in your old age do you want to take on that debt? Well, I'm on my way out anyway. So if I owe the money, they can't come after me if I'm dead. Okay. I don't judge. But I don't think like that. I'm like, if I need this, well, let me wait next month. I'll get it. All right? Because I don't have unlimited funds. Yes, I'm rich. I told you I'm rich, but it's not because I'm a millionaire. No, it's because I have learned to delay, delay gratification. You've heard that word? Yeah. This week, let me tell you one example. And it may be something that is so simple. You might say, oh, well, she says she's rich. She doesn't have any money. Well, you might be right. Remember, my being rich has nothing to do with the size of my bank account. I live comfortably in Panama, but I'm not rich. I'm just rich in other things, in other ways. I had been looking for my perfume called J'adore, which is a French brand. I'm part French, so I love French perfume. But when I came to Panama, it was a challenge to find it. And I remember one day I was traveling from Orlando, and I think we made a stop somewhere. And you know how they have the duty-free stores, big, and I'm going, oh, I see J'adore. I bought it. It was like $95 or something. So I came home. It was a copycat copy of my perfume. So I came here. I was able to find it at the free zone in Cologne. So I was like, okay, I need to go to Cologne. I need to go to Cologne to get it. But you're looking at your monthly expenses, and these are like incidental. They are not the things that you need to live. And I went to Bath and Body and bought something that, I can spray on and not stink around people. I don't. I do shower every day. But it was like I couldn't wait because I just love the way my perfume reacts with my body because it's all about chemistry, right? And then I was at a store the other day and I saw a little, it wasn't really big, but I saw perfume. So I went in there and I'm like, do you have J'adore? She's like, oh yeah. So tried it and I stayed around just to make sure. And yes. But I was going to buy some other stuff on my list. So I have to say, oh, I got to table that for next month because I got this J'adore. So it sounds like a simple thing. And you probably say, oh, in retirement, you shouldn't have to worry about that. Well, that's how people get in trouble. Because you think that in retirement, you can just buy, spend, 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 because you feel a sense of entitlement. I deserve it. Well, you deserve the debt too, sis. Because those credit card companies don't care how old you are. You're going to be held up to your credit. Yeah, what you owe them. All right, debt, health. Okay, health. I think you can be rich if you take care of yourself. Remember, I've always said, health is not the absence of disease. It's a mindset. It's the wellness mentality. Taking your medication, sleep, hydration, eating right, stop feeding yourself all the junk. And I keep telling you, you keep going and eating at restaurants, they're not the healthiest food. Even if it says whole food, plant-based, or vegetarian, you don't know what they're putting in that food back there. I own a restaurant. I am telling you, you don't know what they're putting in that food back there. So when you go to a restaurant, you are putting your life in this person's hand. You're trusting that they're washing their hands. You're trusting that they are not cross-contaminating your food. So why do you think you go home and you get food poisoning? Why do you think you get sick? Mm-hmm. Eat at home. Eat at home. I know that's a plug, right? So your health is a concept. It's a state of mind. Knowing you need to move. I don't care how you move. Don't sit in front of a television all day watching CNN, Fox News. What's that going to do for you? It's not healthy. Watch documentaries, learn something, go learn a new skills, go salsa dance, go do yoga, or go do like my friend Michelle. She's at the beach again. She's at the beach at least once a week. But that's her happy place. That's healthy for her. Hopefully she's using sunscreen. I know she does. All right, language. I embrace the language because I already spoke some Spanish. So I knew that if I was able to converse, I watch the news every day. When they're singing, I'm listening. I'm still learning. When I hear new words, I put it in my phone, I look it up. My vocab is enriching every day. But choosing Panama was part of that exploration. Oh, Spanish, I can get by. Check. I embrace that, and that makes me richer in this beautiful country where Spanish is the language, just in case you didn't know that. So please don't go out there expect them to speak Spanish. Just speak English. If they do, embrace it. If they don't, it's up to you to learn Spanish, right? What else did I do that makes me rich here in Panama? SWA. Oh, my baby. Oh, my baby. Having SWA, being with the sisters, bringing them information that is going to make all of us grow. Like tomorrow, we're having a financial planner, a retired physician talking to us about finances, investing, and how to manage our money. That's what I was saying earlier. Just because you are retired doesn't mean you're going to spend everything that you have. Yes, you've seen the tag that says I'm spending my children's inheritance. Why did I see that? Yeah. But I'm not saying you need to not, we still travel and we enjoy things, but don't go crazy, right? Because you still have to live. And because I said also, if you retire in your 60s, you die in your 90s, it's about over 30 plus years that you have to practice and save and finance your money so that it will stretch that long. That's why tomorrow's program is really important because we're going to learn how can we make our money stretch for us? How are we going to pay for the people to come and take care of us at home? If we're like on a real tight budget and you don't have the money. All right. So that's important. So SWA, trying to teach the ladies, create community, and just I'm trying really hard to get us to be really tight as a community and committed to caring for each other, to stand in the gap for each other. That's the goal. So having SWA and working towards all these just inspire me to do better, to work hard. And then it's not work because it's a labor of love. So it's a different attitude towards what I do. All right. And then community, of course, that goes with SWA. I had to create community. So when SWA came about, I'm like, oh, good. At least I have some sisters. If something happens to me, they'll come and see about me. That's community, right? All right. And another thing too for me that I feel is making me that much richer here is the commitment to the place where I am. I am not someone who jumps from here, 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 here. I do my research and then I jump and then I'm committed unless something really bad happens. And it's a mindset, sis. Because, and I think it was Adelia also who came back to mind to said, did you move to Panama to retire or to age there? And this is something that we need to really have clear in our mind. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Come on, do it, do it, do it. Because if you're thinking you're going to retire and you're thinking, well, I'm going to try it and see if that works. Well, if you're just going to try it, but you're not committed to it, to the place, then when something minor happens, you're going to say, oh, well, I can't speak that language. So I'm going to move to Belize instead where they speak English. And you can, sis. But I'm committed in my mind. Therefore, that frees me to embrace the challenges and work through them. Okay? The ability to work through situation is a requirement for you to be rich in retirement. So that you're not fazed by the mañana mindset. You're not fazed if you see some trash on the road. You're not fazed by people whatever could be happening in the expat group that you don't appreciate. It's like, listen, I'm over here. I don't get distracted by all that. That makes me rich. The commitment to being in a place that I love, a commitment to respect the country, to respect the people, to respect the culture, and realize that I am just blessed with the opportunity. It's a mindset, sis. And stability, mindset, community, SWAT, cultural, acculturation, embracing a new culture, language, health, debt. Now, all these things I talk about, I feel have made me a person who is grateful and appreciative of being in this space. So when I say retire rich in Panama, I'm saying that there is work that needs to be done for you to lay the ground so that you can live this life in retirement that is rich. You have community, you have friends, you're enjoying the outdoors. You can enjoy the mountains, you can enjoy the beach, you can enjoy the food, you can enjoy the amount of activities there is to do in Panama. OMG. We just got off a carnival. Then now I'm going to be looking towards Easter. Then there is Sabores de Colón. There's always something to do. And you get to pick and choose while you balance that with some rest and activity and cooking good food. It's a mindset. So understand there is work that needs to be done. And then once the work is done and you move in faith and you're planted and you are committed and then you living this rich life that is so vibrant and exciting with so many things to explore. I haven't even touched the surface of everything I need to learn about Panama. I am constantly learning. And when I learn something, I like to share it with the sisters because that's what it is. It's community. We share information. We don't hog it. All right. Oh my God. Our time has come to an end. And I hope you appreciate this video. Listen, I'm not going to stress about these videos because some of them do okay, some do and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to remain faithful and I'm going to do what I know to do with talking to you guys. I appreciate those of you who have become members. It helps. Remember the members. We work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern. On Mondays, I open it to the general public because I want people to see what we do. And we do stretching on Mondays, yoga, Pilates. And then on Wednesdays and Fridays, we go a little bit harder. This morning, we did 90 jumping jack, myself and Crystal. So we are excited about we're living a rich life, okay? So I also want to encourage you to watch the SWAT podcast, to listen to it. It's more auditory, even though yesterday I showed my face because I was talking about accepting your body in this age, la tercera edad, that you need to appreciate and embrace the gravity pull. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. And every stage in life, we need to accept ourselves. We need to accept ourselves. All right, sis, I'm not going to hold you any longer. I thank you for sitting here and chatting. Some people say they listen to me while they're working out or they're driving. I appreciate you. If you're a new subscriber, thank you and welcome to the family. If you're a returning subscriber or you've been with me for a while, I thank you. You know I love you. And I give you lots of information and lots of free stuff. So support your sister, support the channel in any way you can. And I did send a gift card to our sister Crystal. I think I'm going to start to do that on Sundays when I do the live. Maybe I'll have a little contest just to get people excited. All right. So thank you again. Have a beautiful day. Remember, being rich does not depend on the size of your bank account. It's about your life and how you design your life. All right. So go out there, be a good human. God loves you. You know I love you. Au revoir. À la prochaine. Bye.